I've always found it fascinating the way that language changes over time. I think we often don't really think about it that much, that actually throughout a lifetime, one person's lifetime, there will be many changes to your language. And when you're 75 years old, your grandkids will be saying things that you think are, oh, these kids these days are crazy. But how does that happen? How does language change? If you listen to Shakespeare, you can barely understand it. You have to really pay attention to every single word to really get it. How do we go from that to modern English? Two totally different things. Was there a decree from a king and the language shall change now? Usually not. Of course, there are some things that happen, like we're going to write a book, the King James Bible, and things will be spelled this way. But generally speaking, language changes are organic and natural. What I'd like to do is share with you what I believe to be language changing in action. We can actually witness the kind of thing that happens that shows us how language changes. So we're going to watch a short clip from a podcast. Podcast is called the H3 Podcast. I happen to be a fan. And they're talking about a specific thing. They're talking about a type of shirt without sleeves. Now, when I grew up, this specific type of shirt, it's a white shirt, it has lines on it. This specific type of shirt was usually called a wife beater. I grew up calling it a wife beater, this style of shirt. But other people may call it a tank top. Now, which one is right? Well, that's not so clear, and that's kind of the point, is that people have different ideas about what is correct to say, and these things may change generationally. Maybe people who are younger might start saying it differently, and then the old way of saying it sort of begins to fade away. And in this clip we're going to look at, we're catching it right in the middle, where it seems to be fading away, but it's still really common to say it the old way. This is really cool because there's a conversation about the language difference, and also they do a poll, because it's a very large podcast, a very popular podcast. They do a poll to the audience live, and we get to see the results of the poll. Which word do you use to say this thing? So I think it's a great insight into language. So let's check it out. Let's watch this fascinating example of language changing before our eyes. Okay, here we go.
I believe he's wearing a tank top.
I believe he's wearing a tank top.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a wife beater, right?
And then, yeah, it's a wife beater, right? Now, if you think about that, wife beater? A wife beater. What? What is think about that. What is a wife beater? It's a very strange term. I didn't really think about it growing up.
You can't say that, can you?
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called a wife beater.
Do you know that a lot of people these days don't even know what that means? They don't even know that it's used to be called a wife beater.
It's still called a wife beater, isn't it?
Some people still say that, but I think the more used term now is tank top.
Okay, so we have Ethan, who's the guy with the gray hair. He's not old, but he's in his 30s. He thinks wife beater is the term. His wife is beside him. She's questioning that, and then these two younger people here, this girl, I keep forgetting her name. She says, I think the more used term is tank top.
Dude, I swear to God,
I know it used to be called like that.
Wait, here, let me type
At our
wife beater
time.
in Amazon.
I feel like there's a lot of younger people that don't even know that that's what it was called.
I thought it was just a Michigan thing, because when I came out here, I forget who it was, never heard of it, and it actually originated in Detroit, if I'm not mistaken.
He said, I don't know if that's true, by the way. This guy, AB, he says that the term wife beater comes from Detroit, which is in Michigan. And I don't know if that's true or not. But when you actually think about wife beater, what do you picture? I picture a middle-aged man in that style of shirt, white, kind of dirty. It's got stains on it, maybe spaghetti sauce. And he's he's abusive. He's a grumpy old man, and he's taking it out on his wife. So if you really think about it, it's pretty horrible, right? Why do we say that? But often when we use words, we don't really think about every single implication of what the word means, right? When people said, it kills two birds with one stone. Wait a second, if you really think about that, killing two birds with one stone, that's pretty violent. But we don't usually think about that when we say it because we're focused on what we mean. I mean this object, this shirt. I don't really mean what it sounds like it means, if that makes sense. But that may be the reason why it starts to change as well.
Go ahead and do a poll.
So there he's saying, let's ask the viewers.
Yeah, I mean, I typed wife beater in Amazon, and this motherfucker came right up.
Yeah, I mean,
So there it is. That's the style of shirt right there. And obviously, as a search term, it still works. So at least on Amazon, right?
I had always used that term as well, and it's one of those things that you don't even think about it. Like, obviously, like,
You're like, wife beater.
yeah, like that is a
your
horrible
wife.
thing. Yeah, that,
You beat your wife in this shirt.
So these are the poll results. They're going to announce them. I just cut it a little bit so that we could see the results.
Because go ahead and put it up, Dan. Apologize to your alpha lord. 51%.
It is 50-50.
Oh, shit. When I was looking, it was wife beater.
well, here it's. I mean,
Oh,
it's literally 50-50.
Wow.
Okay, I'm actually surprised because, you know,
I think
So
what
that's
Hila said is correct, though. I think the younger generation
almost
is not carrying that
1,600
term
votes.
forward, but
it
Absolutely
needs to
not.
die.
He says the younger generation is not carrying that term forward. So this guy here, he's sort of identifying maybe why, because maybe that word starts to, as people think about it, sound strange. Strange. Why am I saying this? And so they start using just tank top, and that means that that term could die out with the generation like my generation who used that without really thinking about it. And that's a kind of organic process. And here we've kind of caught it right in the middle when it's 50-50, when 50% of people say wife beater and 50% of people say tank top. We're kind of witnessing the change happening here. That's why I think this moment is so cool, linguistically.
I
It's just-
agree. You can't
yeah,
put
I
it on
agree.
being wife beater.
I mean,
No, you
I
cannot.
Can we call it stepson beater?
let's not beat anybody, perhaps.
Okay, that's it. So I think the takeaway here is that we can't be too strict when we learn things. If you're learning a language, if you're learning English, you have to allow for fuzziness. You have to allow for a blur between one term and another, and it's okay to just learn both. But you also have to accept that the dictionary is not the source of truth when it comes to the meaning of this word and how it's used. The source of truth is the context. Who uses it? If you learn a new word or a new phrase, should you use it? I don't know. Maybe. Are you the type of person who uses it? Does it fit within your age group? The people around you, do they use it naturally? Do they avoid it? You have to pay attention to all of those, we could call them connotations. If you really want to use a language naturally, if you're learning English and you want to use it naturally, you can't just sit down and study definitions or translation from your language to English. You have to even more pay attention to this kind of thing. Okay. So maybe that's kind of fading out, so maybe I'll start using tank top instead of wife beater. Or maybe I'll use wife beater. At this point, I would say it's 50-50, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe in 30 years, saying wife beater, that's a little strange. Or most people won't understand you because it's much less popular. So allow for that. Feel comfortable with the uncertainty, the blurriness. That's a good thing. That's how language works. And if you accept it, if you embrace it, you're more likely to be a successful English speaker. By successful, I mean you'll be able to speak more naturally, to communicate with others naturally. You'll sound more fluent because you have that sort of open-minded attitude. If you'd like to share other things, please do. I'd like to hear from you about other terms that you find maybe a little confusing or maybe in the middle like this. If you haven't already done so, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, of course, and check out my full courses in the links in the description.